Today we're going to talk about automating Drupal 9 upgrades and how we can address deprecated code as a community. I'm Dan Montgomery and I'm a senior engineer and technical architect at Palantir.net. We're going to talk about the context of updating from Drupal 8 to Drupal 9, how we can make code updates for that upgrade, and how we can identify deprecations, understand the replacements that we need to make, apply those updates, and test those updates. We'll talk about the current state of Drupal Rector, which is an automated tool that we've been working on to help with those updates. And we'll look at the resources that are available to you to kind of learn more about that tool and use that tool. And we'll look at our next steps. What are we looking to do with the tool moving forward? So the good news is that most of Drupal 8 code will continue to work in Drupal 9. There are deprecated pieces of core functionality that may necessitate updates for your custom code or for contributed code. But the good news there is that over 70% of the PHP updates are things that we can automate updates for with Drupal Rector. So that just leaves the remaining 30% that people can focus on for their custom and contributed code. So this is an overview of all the different issues that were found by this tracking tool that Acquia has provided. And it's found that a good number of these tools or of these issues are issues with info.yaml files or composer.json files. And those issues are fairly easy to fix, which is good news. And then the blue issues are issues that can be fixed by the automated tool Drupal Rector. And in the spring, we really put a lot of effort into this tool, and you can see kind of the spike there. In more recent, the more recent couple of weeks, the reason that those numbers have been going down is as people have been making the updates to the contributed code, the number of issues has gone down, which is great. So something else that you might have seen is an announcement on Drupal.org about automated patches. So there's an update bot now that will use the Drupal Rector tool to create issues and patches on contributed modules wherever it finds that there might be an opportunity to kind of automate any updates that are needed. And maintainers can decide whether they want to accept those suggestions, whether they want to kind of use that as a starting point, and they can even opt out of those future suggestions if they don't find the tool to be helpful. So yeah, let's jump into updating code. So the first thing that you'll need to do is kind of identify your updated code, again, understand the replacement, apply that update, and test that update. So there's a couple tools that you can use to identify the affected code. One of those tools is this tool provided by Acquia on their website. You can visit the website and scan contributed modules and kind of find out what is the status of these. Do they have certain deprecations in them? This is an example of the deprecation. It tells you, this method or this thing was deprecated at this point and will be removed in this version. Most of these deprecations are removed in Drupal 9, which has just been released, and so this is a great chance for you to kind of make those updates and get ready for Drupal 9. So upgrade status is another tool that you can install as any other Drupal module. It's a Drupal module, and it provides a page on your Drupal site that you can visit. And it will scan PHP code, Twig code, info YAML files, and composer JSON files, and it will give you context and suggestions about, what are the issues here to kind of help you decide what you want to do there. This is kind of an illustration of how it works. You can pick a module that you want to scan, and then once you scan it, it lists all the individual issues with the files and line numbers, and then those messages that you saw previously. It does a great job of providing the context, like, hey, you can use Drupal Rector to automatically fix this issue. And it provides some icons next to it to kind of distinguish between which issues can be automatically fixed and which can't. Another tool that you could use is a local development tool called Drupal Check. This is a command line tool that you download as a composer package. It uses a FAR package to avoid dependency conflicts, and it will also scan things like for missing deprecations, as well as other stuff like classes that are not found. The coverage is a little bit different than upgrade status, so it's another one that you can try. Once you've kind of identified those issues, you're going to need to understand the replacements that you need to make. So the first place you might start is Drupal.org itself. Drupal.org in the API documentation will often put this message that says, hey, this thing has a deprecation in it, or the method is deprecated itself. Under the C also, it'll list usually a Drupal.org node page, and that node page is usually the change record. And so that change record will give you information about it, like when was it introduced, here's all these links to issues that were related to it. And then it'll usually also include examples. So this is what you should be replacing your code with. In this case, Drupal set message, and here are the different types of methods that are available there that you should use, whatever is the most relevant one. If you're using PhpStorm or another IDE, you might also see something like this. PhpStorm will put a strike through any deprecation, and then when you hover over it, it tells you it's deprecated. If you hold Control or Command and click on that message, it'll take you to the function definition. And so Drupal core itself has all this information in it that kind of gives you some context about the deprecations. And this is the same link to those change records and messages that you saw before. Okay, so now that we kind of know roughly like how are we supposed to replace this, we need to make the update. You could do that in a manual process by looking at the examples, kind of using them, copying and pasting them, making the changes where needed. You can use code completion, which is super helpful in IDE tools to understand the new methods and things that you need to be doing the replacements with. Or you can try to use automated tools. So Upgrade Rector is another module, kind of similar to Upgrade Status, made by the same people. And this tool also provides a page on your Drupal site and will let you, will kind of use the Drupal Rector tool to scan a module and create a patch for you that you can then apply to your site. We found that the patches that it creates don't always include everything, but this is an open source contributed project, and you can, if you're interested in it, you could contribute back to try to address some of those issues. Drupal Rector itself is a command line tool that comes as a composer package, and the way that you run the tool is by calling vendor bin rector, and then the command process, and then you point it to either a file or a folder. So in this case, we're doing a custom module. If you provide the dry run flag, it won't actually make the updates right away. It'll just tell you what all the updates are. And then you can run the command again and remove that flag, and it will actually just apply the updates for you, and you can just commit them to your code and move forward. So here's an example of what will be produced. So when you run Drupal Rector, it says here are all the files that are changed. It shows you a diff, which looks like a git diff or another diff. In this case, Drupal set message was removed and replaced with a messenger service with add status. Some more information about Drupal Rector. So it's built on an open source tool called Rector PHP. This is a tool that can be used to just kind of upgrade PHP projects in general. Drupal Rector specifically has kind of compatibility with Drupal in it. So it's using the FAR version of that tool, which we found to be helpful to avoid dependency conflicts. It includes default configuration, which matches with how Drupal is set up. And then it provides all those updates that you just saw. And it provides deprecation examples. So there's an example module that has before and after for a lot of these deprecations. So once you've made the updates, either manually or automated, you'll want to test them. So you can manually test your site. We're not going to talk too much about testing, but you will want to do testing either manually by loading your site and seeing if anything has any issues, or you can use the automated tools. There's any number of them like PHP Unit and Behat that are common to Drupal or other automated testing tools. So to review the process, you will kind of want to identify the affected code. You can use Upgrade Status or Drupal Check to help with that. You'll understand the replacements by kind of looking through documentation. You can apply the updates with Drupal Rector, and then you can test those updates with PHP Unit or Behat. So there's a lot of kind of tools to help you with each of the stages of this process. So a little bit more about Drupal Rector. So Drupal Rector at this point has over 40 Drupal 8 deprecations. Drupal 8 is the focus right now. Those deprecations include the most common ones like Drupal set message and Drupal entity manager and database select. If you want to learn more about Drupal Rector, how to install it and use it, we have a page for you, kind of a hub on our website, palantir.net/rector. And that includes topics like adding Drupal Rector to a site, creating a Drupal Rector rule. We have information on many of the individual deprecations, and we have other technical and non-technical resources to kind of walk you through just the overall, how do you upgrade from Drupal 8 to Drupal 9? What's that process like? If you're interested in being a contributor on the development side for Drupal Rector, we have a code repository on GitHub. It's a public repository. And we have an issue queue on Drupal.org. The issue queue on Drupal.org is good because people that are in the Drupal ecosystem can contribute there. And even though we have our pull requests on GitHub, we'll give credit to people on Drupal.org, which kind of gives them credit through the Drupal system, which is good. We also have a Drupal sandbox development environment that is on GitHub, and you can download this if you're just interested in seeing how the tool works, or if you're interested in doing development. It kind of has a couple convenience things, and it's how we do development on the Drupal Rector tool. So what are the next steps? For Palantir.net, we're interested in maintaining the Drupal Rector package. That includes kind of keeping up to date with with Rector itself, and updating and developing the rectors that cover the most common Drupal 8 deprecations, and providing resources. So, we mentioned the Palantir.net and other resources that includes blog posts and examples to kind of understand the process, even if you're not using the Drupal Rector tool. The community, we mentioned one of the previous community goals was that automated patches that are available on Drupal.org. Other community goals and opportunities include, expanding the scope of the existing rectors. There's been a bunch of contributions from the community for the roles that are in the project right now, as well as providing documentation around the deprecations and providing support for future deprecations, which there's been discussions about, do we want to provide Drupal 9 support to Drupal Rector, and then kind of as Drupal 9 deprecates functionality, make it easier for people to upgrade throughout Drupal 9's lifecycle to get ready for Drupal 10. So we wanted to give thanks to a bunch of projects. Drupal 8 Rector was a project that was created to add Drupal functionality to Rector, and that's the project that we found and were inspired by. And so we took that project and updated it to be compatible with the newest versions of all the dependencies, added a lot of deprecations there, and focused on just deprecations. Drupal 8 Rector had kind of a larger scope where it was going to apply other things beyond just deprecations. So if you're interested in that, you can take a look at that project as well. We wanted to thank all of these individual contributors. So the people on the right are part of Palantir.net, and the people on the left are all the people that have contributed patches and other things on GitHub and on Drupal.org. So I really wanted to thank those people. And the project maintainer. So Drupal Rector's project maintainer is Offer Shah. He's a senior front-end developer at Palantir.net. And we also wanted to thank all of you for either using the tool, watching this video, any contributions that have been put out there around the Drupal upgrade process and all of that stuff. And again, if you have any interest in contributing, these are active projects that are out there on GitHub and Drupal.org, and welcome all your contribution if you're interested in just using or adding to these tools. So thanks again.